to New Rockstars. It's me, MT, and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania spoilers coming up, so consider this your warning because we have got to talk about that very, populated post-credit scene, guys. Quite the powerful population of predatory portling pals indeed. But most importantly, the apparent leader of this Council of Kangs is the Immortus, and it's about damn time too. But where could this Immortus Kang variant have come from? And more importantly, why is this Immortus blue and in serious need of a throat lozenge? Well, I think this character was actually teased during Jonathan Majors' first MCU appearance within Loki Season 1's finale. So let's take a look at all those clever MCU clues together, shall we, my nerd babies? We shall. But before we do that, make sure to head on over to nerdriot.shop so you can buy one of these amazing new Quantumania shirts. So head on over to nerdriot.shop today. It is the new home for New Rockstars merch. And hey, this video is brought to you by Squarespace. More on them later. But alright guys, so I'm sure fans of the Asgardian God of Mischief's TV series on Disney Plus felt a heavy dose of familiarity with the way that Jonathan Majors tweaked his voice as the blue-faced Immortus in the Quantumania post-credit scene. He talks like this and dresses like the Pope if the Pope was also a blueberry. This is a voice that is suspiciously similar to the first time Jonathan Majors did this voice in the MCU when he was using this voice to pretend to be one of the fake robotic timekeepers in Loki episode 4. I do not think that this is merely a coincidence, but actually a deliberate choice by both Jonathan Majors and Marvel, mostly to imply a direct connection between the Timekeepers and this Immortus variant of Kang. Because although the Timekeepers in Loki Season 1 were merely a robotic illusion made by He Who Remains' variant of Kang to keep the TVA workforce faithful, I do not believe that that specific lie was 100% fabricated. And I think that this post-credit scene of a blue Immortus, along with a mysterious detail from the Loki Season 1 finale, point to this. Because remember when Loki and Sylvie are walking towards the elevator at the Citadel at the end of time, and there were those 4 statues of the Timekeepers there, with one of those statues mysteriously destroyed and carelessly left on the ground as rubble? I believe that this destroyed statue is supposed to depict Immortus from the Quantumania post-credit scene. I believe that this is Marvel's clever way of teasing Immortus all the way in this finale before they revealed him as the leader of the Council of Kangs in Quantumania. But I know what you're probably thinking. Time out, MT! If this is Immortus, then wouldn't that sort of imply that the Timekeepers were actually real at one point? And my answer to that question is yes, absolutely yes, but mostly because of Immortus' history with the very real Timekeepers in the Marvel comics. Because in the comics, Immortus was actually a very special variant of Kang the Conqueror, one that actually impressed the Timekeepers, the original very keepers of the time stream itself, a ton. Like they really thought this guy was something else. Mostly because they saw that he was the most sane and reasonable out of all the Kang variants, as Immortus was the oldest and longest lived of them all. I mean, hell, comic book Kang's girlfriend, Ravonna Renslayer, actually co-signs this assessment as she regards Immortus as all that was ever good in Kang. And being so, the Timekeepers wanted to teach Immortus their vast knowledge on how to manage the flow of time properly, like they do, so that Immortus can keep tabs on all those Kang variants that keep trying to mess up the Timekeepers' plans for all of time in the multiverse, essentially making Immortus their new 4th Timekeeper. Now, this all being said, I believe a similar thing happened in the MCU before He Who Remains moved into the Citadel at the end of time, with the Timekeepers finding this Immortus variant and enlisting him within their ranks to help keep the MCU multiverse safe from all of those Kang variants. Like, I honestly do believe that this was a Citadel built originally by the Timekeepers to house all 4 of them. Well, 3 of them at first and then 4 when Immortus joined the crew. However, I believe that Immortus could have made a massive mistake in his attempt to try to keep all of his Kang variants in line, and that mistake was the first iteration of the Council of Kangs. You know, basically the part of He Who Remains' story when all the Kang variants met each other and had that short-lived period of peace as they shared science and technology.
For a while, there was peace. Narcissistic, self-congratulatory peace.
And I believe that it was during this very Kang Con that Immortus would have assembled and met the Kang variants that would have become He Who Remains and the evil Kang from Quantumania respectively. This is when he met both of those 2 variants. But unfortunately, like He Who Remains tells the Lokis, that peace does not last for very long. And all of Immortus' work trying to organize all these Kangs together to keep the multiverse in perfect functioning order without all those pesky incursions goes to shit when all of these narcissistic butt heads butt heads. kicking off a multiversal war likely instigated by the Quantumania Kang and all the other Kangs like him that didn't want to sit around and do science, but instead conquer their variant brothers' respective universes instead, because that's what Kang likes to do. He likes to conquer, he likes to take shit. And look guys, we're gonna get back to the video in just one second, but I gotta tell you guys about Squarespace. Not only are they making it possible for me to do this video, but they could be making it possible for you to do, honestly, whatever you want to do online. That's because Squarespace makes it easy to make an awesome website that lets you engage with your audience and sell anything that you need, your products, content you create, and even your time. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform for building your brand and growing your business online. If you're into making videos, Squarespace can help you create pro-level videos effortlessly. The Squarespace Video Studio app will help you make and share engaging videos to tell your story, grow your audience, and drive sales. But hey, maybe videos aren't your thing because you're more of a social media buff. No problem. You can display posts from any profile that you want on your website and automatically push website content to your favorite social media channels so your followers can share it too. No matter what you're doing, Squarespace analytic tools will help you learn where your traffic and sales are coming from so you can improve your website and build a marketing strategy based either on your top keywords or most popular products and content. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/newrockstars to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And we thank Squarespace once again for sponsoring this video. But this is when I believe the Kang who would become He Who Remains would find that beast between realities called Alioth and weaponize him to neutralize all the other Kangs that rebelled against Immortus and the Council's agenda, eventually leading Quantumania Kang to be exiled to the Quantum Realm by the very Council of Kangs.
I harnessed the beast's power and began experimenting on it.
I weaponized Alioth. And I ended the multiversal war.
However, because He Who Remains was now a massive threat with his control over Alioth, I believe that this Immortus version of Kang that we met in the Quantumania post-credit scene and the Council may have also exiled He Who Remains in their own way as well, by Immortus giving He Who Remains Immortus's old position as the MCU's timekeeper and making him basically a glorified administrator of the MCU's sacred timeline. So long as He Who Remains keeps the Council of Kang's agenda of pruning the sacred timeline and stopping it from branching into other timelines and causing multiversal incursions, essentially just trying to keep the peace. And this is when I believe He Who Remains could have moved into that Citadel at the end of time and gotten rid of the original timekeepers somehow, then making the TVA and establishing himself as the only keeper of time. Because like I said, Immortus was one of the few Kangs that actually was down to work together with people, and not all versions of Kangs are going to be down to work with 3 other timekeepers, and He Who Remains is one of those. And He Who Remains did that while Immortus concerned himself with keeping all the Kangs on the Council of Kangs in order as they continue working on their own agenda together. However, unfortunately for the Council of Kangs, after eons, I think this exiled winner, He Who Remains, finally realized that his reward was actually a prison of paperwork, responsibility, and loneliness, and boredom. He was very bored, which is why He Who Remains decided to play with Loki and Sylvie's lives to get them to kill him, because a narcissistic man like Kang the Conqueror will not be the one to kill himself. He's not going to be able to do it. But with He Who Remains' death, Immortus is now kind of screwed, because now the timelines are beginning to branch and realities are starting to cross over with each other as each of those wild branches touch each other, triggering the big multiversal incursions that precede Secret Wars. And Immortus and all the Council of Kangs are not happy about this. Like, they had this whole structure and He Who Remains sort of messed it all up. So this being said, I have a feeling that Immortus in the post-multiversal war incarnation of the Council of Kangs must clean up He Who Remains' mess and get the sacred timeline in order again by pruning timelines by force themselves. That's right, everybody, all these Kangs are coming to fix Sylvie and He Who Remains' mistake and get this MCU sacred timeline back into a perfect circle again. But not with the TVA. This time, they gotta do it themselves, baby. They are going to conquer. But in regards of those 3 missing timekeepers, I believe that this might be a secret that Loki Season 2 ends up exploring, as this shot of Loki trying to break open an ancient timekeeper wall can be seen in one of the Loki Season 2 promos, kind of implying to me that Loki is trying to discover a forgotten piece of timekeeper history. But only time will tell. But yeah, that is where I believe this Immortus Kang actually came from. I think he was actually one of the first timekeepers that originally lived in that Citadel at the end of time that we saw in the Loki finale. I mean, the timekeepers have been replaced with duplicates in the comics before, so I think that this is very likely to be the case in the MCU as well. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. You can follow me at MasterTainment on Twitter if you guys want to see me tweet some weird shit and really fun theories, especially the Marvel Trigger theory, which is a theory that I always talk about all the Infinity Stones and how they all tie to science. But most importantly, you can can follow New Rockstars wherever we are on the social medias, especially on YouTube. Just make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get notifications every time we upload a video. And of course, do not forget to hit up nerdriot.shop so you can buy one of these amazing Ant-Man inspired shirts. But again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.